Hello guys, hi, this is Ganesh Nayak. I help finance professionals and students to excel in their career and become a better version of themselves. And I also help students preparing for FRM and CFA exams. Now, I have with me one of my student who has been able to clear FRM Level 1 exam in his first attempt, and he cleared the exam in May 2023. Okay, and we're going to be talking to him about his journey, about the way he prepared for the exam, what are the major challenges that he faced, and how he was able to manage and succeed in the exam. So with this, let us start with the discussion. So we have with us Aditya. First of all, Aditya, thank you very much for joining in and taking out time talking to us.
Thank you, sir,
And
for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
okay, and can you give a brief background to the audience in the sense what was your education background? If you were working, how many years? And when you started your preparation, what were you doing?
Okay. So, sir, I completed my MBA in the finance field, and post
Okay,
that I started working for NBFC as a credit
hmm,
manager in the home loan industry. So,
okay,
once I decided to pursue FRM, so I was
hmm,
aware that it would be very difficult along with my job to clear the exam because I also
okay,
had Saturdays working. And considering the curriculum, it wouldn't have been possible as per my understanding. So I decided to take a break from my job and completely focus all my time for preparation of the exam. So I
okay,
left my job in December and I started preparing full time for FRM level 1, December of
okay.
2022.
And what was the motivation for you to choose FRM?
Since I already had experience in the credit risk side of industry, and I
Hmm.
wanted to upskill my knowledge and get into better profiles as I move along in my career. So I was
Okay.
looking to different qualifications, and considering my current expertise in the risk industry of credit risk, I thought that FRM would be best suited. And for the same, I also had a discussion with you for a few times where you also suggested the same. So after thinking about it a lot for a few months, I decided to pursue with FRM.
Okay. And when did you start the preparation with us? Which month? And you are a part of the live online batch, right?
Yes, I was a part of the online batch. So I connected with you in the month of August, and from October, and I think our online lecture started. But due to my job, I was not able to attend all the lectures which were happening on Saturdays and Sundays. So I started my full preparation from December onwards. So whatever lectures I
Okay.
had missed, so I completed post December.
Okay. And the order of preparation, was there any specific order that you're following or the same order that I was going in terms of my lectures?
So I exactly followed your order of preparation. The video lectures which you had in the same order I was watching. And then like you
Okay.
had lectures on Saturday, Sunday of certain topics. So I used to
Hmm.
watch those videos from Monday to Friday, and Saturday, Sunday I used to attend the lectures to get a revision and better understanding of those topics.
Okay. Perfect. And from October, when you started your preparation till December, what was the average time that you were able to give
I was giving around 3 to 5 hours per day.
from October onwards?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
So
And from
generally the
December?
videos, and from December I increased to around 4 hours. So for October onwards, the average videos were around 2 hours per video per chapter. So I used
Hmm.
to try to complete 1.5 to 2 chapters per day from Monday to Friday.
Oh,
And simultaneously, I was also
okay.
making notes in the Schwezer itself because there were a lot of the topics wherein while explaining you said some key words or key concepts which made it easier to understand. So I kept noting down those things also. So generally one chapter
Okay.
took around 3 hours to complete. So every day that was my target.
And by when you had completed your overall fun reading of the overall content?
One reading I completed around mid of March.
Okay, so initially you're trying to cover from October onwards 2 chapter per week, and then
Yes.
once you got free from your job, you fully dedicated. And what was the
Yes.
average speed in terms of completing the chapters from December?
From December, every day I was completing 1 to 2 chapters of video
Okay,
lectures.
okay, oh, perfect, perfect. And then with respect to the question bank solving, so you started immediately solving, or you
No,
did it
I
after
started
completion?
around mid of Jan. I started solving questions from the start of the chapters, which I like, for example, Introduction to Risk Management. So, same order I started
Okay,
solving all the questions. So,
okay, so
basically,
kind
first
of
started with the basic conceptual questions, which were after the video lectures.
had the easy questions, and then there was a slightly difficult question. So
Yes,
those difficult questions you did from mid of January, and basically it was also kind of a revision for you because you were revising and solving, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
So I
And you
try
said
to
mid of
keep a gap
yeah.
of around 1.5 months between the time I first read the chapter and between the time I gave the question bank. So I would get a time to revise also and get a
So
sort of second reading.
when did you completed your overall chapters solving?
Around first week of April, I completed all the question banks
Okay,
of all the chapters.
first week of April. Okay.
Yes.
Now, uh, from the day you started your preparation till the first week of April, what was the biggest challenge that you faced in terms of your preparation?
And the biggest challenge I faced was implementing the concepts. Like when I first read Treasure and watched the videos, I was like, I understood all of this. But when I went to the
Hmm.
actual question bank, the questions were
Hmm.
framed in such a way that I got confused in most of the
Okay.
questions. So applying all those concepts which I had studied was slightly tricky. So for that, what I generally did was once I completed my analysis of the mock, I used to also try to understand the thinking behind my methodology of coming to an answer, along with the
Okay.
solution provided, to get a better understanding on whether I was thinking on the correct lines or not. So that helped me a lot in analyzing and rectifying my mistakes. And secondly, while also analyzing, there are a lot of new concepts that came in question bank. There were certain topics which I was not aware of. So is to keep a note of all the mistakes I made. So at a later stage,
Hmm.
when I revise, it would be easier for me because during the end, last month, it wouldn't be possible to go through all the question banks again for revision.
Okay. Okay. So interesting part was you were also highlighting the mistakes that were happening in the solving of the chapter of his question, and you're making note of the mistakes that you're making, right?
Yes.
So that it will help you. Okay. And when did you start solving? Did you solve sectional test, the book-wise
Yes,
quiz?
so first I completed all the quizzes, normal easy
Hmm.
quizzes and quiz one which were given, and post that
Okay.
I went to the important quizzes and sectional test.
Okay. And when you were solving the sectional test, what was the average accuracy that you were having?
So for normal all the quizzes and the sectional test, I was getting around 60 to 70% on average.
Okay. And how many mock papers did you solve before the exam?
Mock, I gave four mocks of intelligent and one GARC
Mhm.
mock, and second GARC mock I didn't properly give the exam. I only went through the questions and the solutions. So five mocks
Okay.
in proper I gave with
And what
time
was the
limit.
average score that you were getting in those mocks?
I was getting around 70 to 75 in all the mocks.
Oh, okay. Wow. So basically, your preparation was helping you in the sense while
Yes,
solving the.
because during my quiz one and easy sections quiz, I made a lot of mistakes. And while
Hmm.
trying to understand and rectify those mistakes, so once I moved to the mocks, I found it slightly easier to solve because I already understood most of the concepts which were occurring. And I'd already made the mistakes which I would have making first time hadn't I given those mocks in the first place.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Then when you went for the exam, how exactly was your first 1 hour? Was it very tough, very easy? What happened?
So most of the mocks which I gave generally had around 60-40 or 70-30 pattern, like 70 theory and 30 numericals. But
Hmm.
when I went to my exam, it was around 80 theory sums and 20 numerical sums. And the questions were extremely lengthy. So they had given a lot of unnecessary points in the question so that students tend to waste their time while reading. So
Right,
generally, I had a plan of completing around 25 questions per hour. So I'd set the time limit. Like when 1 hour is over, I should be around 20 to 25 questions should be over. So when I started, the
okay,
first 1 hour went okay. Then the second 1 hour, I wasn't able to complete the questions because there were a lot of difficult numericals in middle and a
okay.
lengthy theory questions. So
Mhm.
then I tried to cover up during the last 2 hours.
Okay, and you were able to complete everything in that 4 hours window?
No, I was not able to complete around 6 to 7 questions in the end of lengthy
Okay,
numericals.
okay, okay. And when you came out, maybe sorry, when you were do solving, so the 20 numericals that you mentioned, were they very tough, or what was that? What was the easy
So
difficulty
it
level?
was generally a mix of difficulty of all those questions. Like half the questions were doable, and the rest half of questions were slightly tricky, and the last 4 5 questions were extremely difficult and extremely lengthy. So even if I knew
Okay.
2 to 3 questions, I wouldn't have attempted it because the time taken to solve those questions was huge.
Okay. So you played smartly also over there. And what about theory?
In theory also, it was a mix of questions. Like generally, my paper was around 80 theory, so around
Hmm.
30 to 35 theory were direct and solvable. The remaining
Okay.
theory questions were tricky. In tricky in the sense that the last two options, it was very difficult to eliminate and get to the correct answer, which would be right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
for
Okay.
that, what I found that helped me was during my practice also, I always try to eliminate the options. Like if you directly try to find the correct option in the first instance, it is very difficult considering the type of options they frame. So it is
Hmm.
better to try to eliminate and come to the final option. So I found that helped me a lot because a lot
Okay.
of the time there was certain word or certain phrase written in last option which made it incorrect. So if I was able to find that incorrect part, it would be easier to attempt the correct answer.
Okay. Got it. Got it. And when you came out of the exam center, what was the number in your mind that I will get this much or I'll get X number? What was that?
So I was sure about 30 to 35 questions. And remaining
Hmm.
questions, I was not 100% sure. It was like 70, 30, 60, 40. So once I gave my paper, I
Okay.
immediately called you also for the same because I was not aware whether my answers are correct or not. So a lot of the time I went with my gut feeling that I've seen this somewhere or this might be the answer as per my understanding. So I feel that giving a lot
Okay.
of mock test and analyzing helped me to get that correct feeling in the exam while solving the paper.
Right. And this is what I also tell to a lot of students that you don't have to solve every question. You don't have to attempt every question. You have to be smart and you have to identify which question you will be able to do it and put time over there and always eliminate the option. This is a very important point that you mentioned because elimination of option will give you more confidence while choosing the final one. And the more reading, the more better understanding of the Schweitzer book that you have, better you will be able to choose that final option. That is what also happened with you.
Yes.
Now, when the result came in, you got first quartile in every book. Was it expected, first of all?
No, I wasn't expecting it because I was not sure about how many right I have done in the first place for most of the
Okay.
questions.
And what was the reaction of people around you, friends, family, office people?
Parents were very happy along with my friends and my ex-colleagues. I was also very happy. It was an unreal feeling. The amount of time I had prepared for the exam, it finally paid off. So I was also very happy to see
Yeah,
that
because you
I
made the
must done
sacrifice
quarter.
also. So you made a very huge sacrifice. You left your job. You wanted to focus entirely for the exam. So obviously, it gave you a very good result. Now, if somebody comes and asks you, give me three tips on how to prepare for FRM. So what would be those three tips from your side?
The first step would be a proper planning and sticking to the plan. So, like I mentioned, I already set a plan. By this day, I will start my mock test. By this, I'll start my mock papers. By this date, I have to
Right.
complete all my first reading. And sticking to that plan helps a lot. This would be the first step. Second
Okay.
would be to take help of a guidance of a certain mentor. Like for example, in my case, you were my mentor. So every day the call that we used to have during the month end was very helpful, where I used to tell you about my current level of preparation and you used to suggest me what all I need to do going forward. So that also helped a
Right.
lot during my preparation. And there was a lot of the times when I was not aware or sure about certain concepts and I got quite a bit nervous. So speaking to you, where you tried to make me understand about the correct way of thinking and applying my knowledge was also very helpful. That would be my
Okay.
second tip. And the third and the final tip would be giving multiple mocks and multiple questions. Because reading and understanding theory is one thing and trying to implement it in a correct manner is another thing. Like only is for my experience, only reading the question won't help to clear the exam. You also need to be able to understand and apply those concepts in practical questions. So that
Right.
understanding I only got after giving multiple mocks and multiple quizzes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. Perfect. I mean, Aditya, thank you very much for taking out time and giving your valuable feedback and also sharing your journey that how you were able to plan by when you completed, what was the time commitment that you gave, and how many mock papers you solved. So all of this, I think, so will give good understanding to students who are preparing in the future. It will motivate them to go for the exam. And like you said, because the result itself shows that you've got first quartile in all the books, this is very interesting result and really motivating for other people to also follow FRM and give it a shot and clear it in the first attempt. So from that perspective, Aditya, thank you very much for taking out time and talking to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, a lot for helping me clear the exam in the first instance itself. Without your guidance, it wouldn't have been possible. Because unless I get a proper plan, I wouldn't have been able to clear that too with first quarters in all the books. So your guidance helped a lot.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.